Bank. And they're saying that the partnership they have with the Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company and the ability they have to understand the need you have and to tailor-make whatever it is that you seek with regards to buying a house to meet your needs, they're saying they can do that for you, whether you are in the diaspora, whether you are employed, whether you are self-employed, it doesn't matter what it is. The interest rate will be consistent.
Okay.
Yes. 10 years, 25 years, 9.5% respectively. Now, how do you get in touch? Visit any Diamond Trust Bank branch or, better still, email them at mortgages@dtbafrica.com.
Beautiful stuff. Yesterday I asked for 200 shillings. I'm still asking for your 200 bob. You know what you can do with it? 200 shillings, give it to me. Okay, don't give it to me. But you can start to put it away with the Lipa Pole Pole by Jubilee Insurance, because they're saying, you know what? When that medical emergency strikes, you're not going to be able to gather people all around and say, okay, guys, we need to put together 500,000 by the end of the day. But you know what you can do? If you start putting away that 200 shillings a month, you then get access and to, this healthcare when you need it. And we're talking about between 50,000 to 10 million shillings inpatient. We're talking about between 500,000 to 10 million inpatient, 50,000 to 200,000 outpatient. We're talking about telemedicine. We're talking about a plan for your children as well. Everybody can get on board because you took 200 shillings and you put it aside with the Lipa Pole Pole. We can make it happen. What you need to do today, send an SMS and write the word health, HEALTH. I can still spell. We're doing well. Send that word to 40643. Somebody will get in touch with you. Or if you don't send SMS and you call 0709 949 000. Somebody on the other end of the phone will get to you. Or if in this day and age you don't SMS and you don't call, but you like the internet, go to www.jubileeinsurance.com. Don't wait for the emergency. Start saving. Do something about that today. Sawa. Fantastic. There's a gentleman and he's in the hot seat. His name is Kevin Nganga. We've been talking about the things that they do, but today he's talking about them to us directly. And now we'll be able to understand what this is all about. Kevin is the country manager for Verto. And you've heard Verto, and people have been asking us many... In fact, you know what? Kevin, thank you for coming. Because now, you know how they say from the horse's mouth?
100%.
Thank you very much. Now you will help us out because people want to know how, when, where. Okay. So we can have that conversation this hour and we can get into this wonderful world of doing business, isn't it?
Glad to be on.
Thank you so much for coming this morning. That was my long-winded way of saying good morning and karibu sana.
Asante sana. Good morning to you as well.
Karibu. CT is going to welcome you now even more properly with today's proverb, and we're going to put you to work as though you don't have enough to do. And he goes to an African country every week.
Okay.
Don't ask me how. Just know that magic still happens in 2025. And then when he comes back, it's from a different country with different proverbs. So today you will interpret the proverb for us and tell us what it means to you.
100%.
Sawa.
Our proverbs for the coming weeks will be from West Africa. The proverbs for this week come from the country of Niger, whose capital is Niamey. And Niamey is situated in the southwest part of the country. 80% of this country is desert. What you call the Sahara Desert, a good portion of it forms 80% of this country. By landmass, largest country on this continent, by landmass. So imagine landmass, most of that landmass is desert.
Sheesh.
Right, it's called life. A proverb, the lion will not give birth to a goat. You'd think that's obvious, isn't it?
Interesting. I think I would look at it from maybe a lineage perspective, meaning that you are born from your parents and you have similar characteristics. So a lion would never give birth to somebody or something that is weak. So from a lineage perspective, I think you want to say your genetics, your culture, your background, how you're brought up is how you will grow up.
Yeah.
So if you're brought up in a strong background, strong environment, you will definitely not be a meek, in quote, a goat, right? So I think that's how I would interpret it as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it's great because everybody has a different thing. And every time I have an aha moment, I'm like, actually, yeah.
Yeah. And
If you're from a lineage of greatness, you're not going to be some run-of-the-mill something on the, that people
100%.
that is eaten by people.
Yep.
You eat.
I think even most powerful is he's talked about the upbringing. There's a foundation, there's a blueprint to who you are
100%.
that you kind of do not divert from. And that's really, really powerful.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. So, Kevin, Karibu again.
Asante
And
sana.
now we're talking about Virtual. And
Yep.
we're talking about, cross-border payments for businesses and enabling that in a space whereby, isn't that what business is about? That gone are the days where you were just, it was your little circle, me and CT, my business, Stone Properties and CT, Tree Properties dealing to one another in the same space. But now we're going global. The world is connecting, every day. So let's start off with what is Virtual
Okay.
in the first place, and then let's see how it's making this business happen.
Great. And thank you again for having me. So we are, at the very definition, we are a cross-border payments platform. So we are a platform provider. And what we do is we enable businesses do 4 things at the very critical, very basic function. Number 1 is we help businesses collect. We help businesses convert. We help businesses make payments. And we also help businesses access markets. So what do I mean by collect? Collect means, number 1, how do I sell my product? So from the very definition of cross-border payments, we help businesses collect funds from different jurisdictions. A case in point would be a Nigerian business that is exporting cosmetics products in Kenya. A Kenyan importer will have to pay the Nigerian cosmetics business. So we help the Nigerian business, for example, collect from their Kenyan customer, right? We also then do payments. So we help businesses make payments globally. And when I mean globally, I mean we have capabilities of up to 190 countries globally, and that's 49 currencies. Payments could be supplier payments, could be payroll payments, could be payments for importation of goods and services, could be software subscriptions as well. So we cover real sector, service sector payment capabilities. We have over 40 global banking partners, and we use our proprietary platform to be able to make payments. So a case in point would be we have Kenyan businesses that import pharmaceuticals from India. So they would use the Vato platform to pay their supply in India. All right, so that's the second part. And then finally, where there's a cross-border payments, there's always an element of converting foreign currency. So one of our customers could be a Tanzanian business that is selling maize in Kenya, right? The Kenyan maize trader needs to pay the Tanzanian maize exporter in Tanzania shillings, but he will sell the maize here in Kenya shillings. So what do? We enable that Kenyan trader convert his Kenya shillings to Tanzania shillings and pay the maize trader in Tanzania. So that's the third thing that we do. And then, of course, access to markets. Because we've got global businesses and we've got local businesses, we then are able to help you as do international connect to new markets. So if you're looking at entering, say, Uganda, if you're looking at entering Tanzania or Nigeria, for example, we are able to help you connect with, say, our existing customer base if you want to, for argument's sake, export milk powder to Nigeria, right? We have commodity companies that use Vato in Nigeria for us, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
So that's we are. From a compliance perspective, we are what you call a compliance-first business. So we work in a regulated environment. So our parent license is in the UK. We have licenses in South Africa. We have licenses in Nigeria. We also have Central Bank of Kenya approvals with banking partners here in Kenya as well. And we just got, good news, we just got our Dubai license. So cross-border payments between Dubai and Kenya are about to change quite significantly.
What does that license mean? when you say you have a license to conduct the business, really very complex business,
Yeah.
that you have, what does that mean?
So licensing means primarily to be able to move money across different jurisdictions. There's an element of risk from number one, what are you paying for? Number two, who are you paying for? Now, because of in every life there are bad actors. You typically find people want to do cross-border payments or cross-border trade in an unregulated environment, and that exposes your normal consumer to potential fraud, to that. So what different jurisdictions do is they come up with a licensing regime. A licensing regime requires the company that wants to facilitate these payments to, one, KYC their customer, which is know your customer. Who is Kevin? What does he do? Who are his owners? How long has he been in existence? Does he have a real business or he's just RM? So the licensing regime allows the jurisdiction that you're operating in to, one, monitor, and two, ensure you're following the laws of the land so that you're not in breach of any of the regulations that are put in place. That's what the licensing means. So a case in point, our license in Nigeria would apply to what Nigerian businesses are allowed to do from a cross-border payment. So we must onboard a customer, understand who is CT. Is CT a real person? Is he a natural person? What does he do? In certain jurisdictions, they have different requirements. They even want to know where is CT's house, where does CT live, right? So the licensing requirements are at each level. So we are depending on the business model that we're applying in each jurisdiction.
Right. So usually we've seen that businesses then have solutions because there was a problem.
Correct.
What was the problem that
So-
Veto is fixing?
Thank you for that question. Let me give you a bit of an anecdotal story. So Vato is 7 years old, and it was primarily set up to solve one problem. African businesses and African financial markets have always been scored as what you call a high-risk jurisdiction. Basically, you do not have the right compliance laws, you don't have the right compliance mechanisms to monitor how money moves. So what you typically find in the global payments system, Africa is considered very high risk. What does that mean? It means if I want to send money, even just to pay for school fees to my son, if he's in the UK, he's in the US, I have to do a lot of compliance requirements. So African businesses have always struggled to access the global payment system. If I want to make a payment today to China, sometimes it can take 7 days. Sometimes the money never reaches. So what Vato then did is understood there's a challenge for African businesses accessing global liquidity and the global payments network. So what did we do? We said, if we were to be able to get the right licensing regime, meaning we get the highest compliance requirements and connect the different African businesses. So a Kenyan business now on the Vato platform can collect funds from a UK customer real time. Why? Because we are solving access to global payment system for African businesses. Before, you'd only have to rely on the traditional banking systems to be able to either make payments or collect. So we solve the problem of cross-border payments access for African businesses. The other thing that we solve is we help businesses open up new markets. One of the really exciting stories I like to tell is we have a flower exporter who uses our platform. They, of course, used to traditionally export to your European and the UK markets.
Yeah.
However, they used to get inquiries from a Senegalese buyer who wanted to import flowers from Kenya and sell in Dakar. Now, the traditional payment channels were Western Union, was cash, fly in, because there was no real connection between a Kenyan payment system and Dakar.
Yeah.
So what did Vato do? Because we have collection capabilities in Senegal and we have payment capabilities in Kenya, we were able to get the Senegalese buyer to convert his XOF, ZOF, to Kenya shillings, pay the flour exporter here, and the flour exporter was able to put the flours onto Kenya Airways, cargo, and transfer. And all this happened within 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
So that's what we solve. One of the things we do is we help businesses open up new
Now, I
markets.
have to ask this question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought traditional banks do exactly what you've just said.
So they do in yes and no. And let me explain the yes. Yes, you can receive payments through the traditional bank. However, the traditional bank system uses what you call a SWIFT system. Now, the West African banking system works with they have a centralized, what you'd call like centralized central bank across different countries. They have one central bank in West Africa. Now, every payment, for you to access dollar liquidity, you sort of get into a queue to get that access. Now, what we do differently is we have banking partners in Senegal, and we also have banking partners in Kenya. Now, a Kenyan bank would typically not have a branch in Dakar that can be able to do that efficiently. So what we do is we take our technology and connect our banking partner in Senegal and our banking partner in Kenya, and using our proprietary platform, you're able to do those payments in real time as well. So that's the difference.
Now, I'm putting myself in the shoe of a business person, I mean, in the future perhaps, but what I think they would dread to be in a situation where they're inconvenienced, and I think you're trying to bring convenience throughout this. But if you look at the, certain various risks of cruise marketing, you're looking at uncertainties, including political instability, technological advancement, and natural disasters that might, because even if you refer to the situation what we saw in Russia, for example, and then, certain things just change in the market, and someone would want to interrogate, why would I trust Varto to ensure that there will be no inconvenience based on what's happening perhaps in DR, and I have this relationship with somebody in Kenya in terms of business, and I'm in DR right at the heart of it.
Correct.
What are you doing differently that would save me that inconvenience based on those particular uncertainties in the cruise, if I put it that
Cross
way?
border. Okay.
Border.
So two things are I see we help with. Number one is uncertainty around markets is usually shown in the currency movement. So if Russia invades Ukraine, you typically see the currencies reacting. So one of the things we do to help businesses deal with that level of uncertainty is we have a fully fledged treasury management platform that you can be able to, one, observe market movements. Two, we have our own house research team that provides you market color on a daily basis. What do we think? Everybody's now talking about Trump. What are the implications for Trump from an Africa perspective? So then we provide a lot of our customers with market color. We also give them a risk management platform that you can be able to say, okay, I'm anticipating a payment in a week's time from a customer, say, in South Africa, right? And there is political uncertainty. We do have a solution where you can hold your funds in a multi-currency wallet and wait for the uncertainty to reduce and then move your money. So we have that ability as well. From a political perspective, we also have within our team a compliance function. That compliance function is able to tell you these are the jurisdictions that are what you call out of risk appetite. For example, if you're looking to make a payment in a restricted country and somebody has approached you, we're able to tell you the following countries globally have restrictions. You won't be able to either collect your funds or not. There are certain businesses in Kenya get a lot of inquiries around, can you make a payment to certain jurisdictions? We are able to tell our clients, hey, please note this is an out-of-risk jurisdiction. It's highly unlikely you'll get paid. The other thing that we also do, which is something we're really excited about, is because we're a compliance-fast business, if you have a potential supplier who wants to sell you products, and you're not too entirely sure of who they are, one of the things that we do is we have got AI technology. If you're able to share with us payment details. We're able to tell you, is this document doctored? Because we're also connected on the SWIFT network, we're able to also validate, is this an existing supplier business as well? So we don't just facilitate cross-border payments. We also want to make sure that businesses are working in a safe and trusted environment.
Nice.
So, I mean, folks getting confused in the sense that, or not getting confused, but you know how we want to just say that, yes, you can make sure the payment platform works, but what else are you doing? So after I make the payment, can you also make sure my stuff gets here as well? You know, can we separate that?
So,
because there's the thinking that, you know, you can make sure the payment goes through from here to Beijing, whatever, but are you also then facilitating for my goods to reach here?
So we are focused on the payments leg of the business. However, we have partners that are logistics partners that we work with. So a freight forwarder, for example, who wants to, you're looking for assistance to facilitate freight forwarding. I'm always talking about Nigeria and Kenya. It's one of our favorite corridors.
Yeah.
Let's say CT wants to import jollof rice.
Let's say palm oil.
Let's say palm oil.
Okay, even more accurate.
So we do have freight.
Yes, you do. You do want to import palm oil.
What's with the face?
I was doing well with the jollof rice, though I have no idea what it is. But okay, let's go with the palm oil.
So let's say CT has secured an order and wants to import palm oil. We have partners that use Vato for cross-border payments, so a freight forwarder. So we would be able to tell you, hey, CT, we have a partner in Nigeria who, for example, can help you facilitate the movement of the goods, whether it's via air freight or via sea freight. Another case in point is, and this is something that we've done quite a bit, is we have a lot of digital marketing agencies that use our platform primarily to pay influencers across Africa. So I can help Du's business do some digital marketing. How? I will refer her to a reputable digital marketing agency that can be able to create content, create campaigns, and she would be able to pay for those services on the platform. So it's not just goods, but also services as well.
Nice. All right. It's a 9:31, 29 minutes to 10 o'clock. Let's take a break. We're speaking this morning with Virtual Country Manager Kevin Nganga, and we're looking at just basically how it has been made easier over time for cross-border payments to facilitate business. CT, there are 1 million people who enter the job market every year. How is KCB Foundation helping them make sure that they can connect skills?
Well, it's one group at a time, really, because 1 million people is a bit, the number is daunting.
Yeah.
Now, KCB Foundation started the GD program in this century, around 2016. It was with the understanding that there's a gap between the education some people have and then having the requisite skills so that you can actually fit into the workplace being commercial, industrial, administrative, whatever it is. And just businesses that someone can do and start on their own. So they took it a step further. They would connect the individuals who met the master to TVET. Why TVET? Well, because you need institutions whose certification is not only understood but is recognized. There are many people who have the ability, they know what to do, but there's no piece of paper that indicates that what they can do, they can actually do.
Right.
So this is what they did. But they took it even a step further. In addition to skilling you, there's what you call tooling. So they partnered with entities who can actually help tool you, give you the requisite. If your business requires knowledge on how to clobber a nail, they provide you with a hammer so that you can thump that nail sufficiently. If it requires you to make someone look extraordinarily beautiful and attractive and fetching, then they will give you the wherewithal so that you can add this and that so that it can become those. Now, in addition to this, if you need a little money just to sort of like to move around and to do the things that your business requires, they have funding that they make available. Meaning, this is not just a 360. This is an everything XT. They make sure that you have the tools, the wherewithal, and the money to be able to do what you do.
Holistic.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And they go to the website to find out more information,
Yes.
kcbgroup.com/foundation.
Yes, that would help enormously.
It would actually.
Yes.
And this is where I then remind you before we take that break that, you know what, Jubilee Medical Health Cover, 200 shillings, put it aside, because we can get to the place where you get up to 95, rather your average of 95,000 a year. Inpatient cover, 500,000 to 10 million. Outpatients, 50,000 to 200,000. It's going to cover pre-existing and chronic illnesses, nothing like, oh, we don't cover that. Also, it's going to make sure that you take care of dental, optical, maternity and wellness programs and free telemedicine consultations. This is because you put aside something under the J plan with Jubilee Insurance. Also, there's a junior medical cover for children between the ages of 0 and 17. Same thing, 35,000 shillings is what you're putting together every year. Inpatient cover of up to 10 million shillings. It covers immunization, important stuff, pediatric checkups, annual medical checkup, and telemedicine. What do you need to do? Send an SMS, health, to 40643, call 0709 949 000, or visit www.jubileeinsurance.com.
Dental Tips brought to you by Sensodyne, the gentle touch. Did you know brushing too hard can damage your enamel and cause tooth sensitivity? Use a soft bristle toothbrush and Sensodyne toothpaste for daily repair and long-lasting protection.
Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Zach only wants your friendship. Is that it, Joanna?
I'm confused, Asher. It is possible that he feels something stronger for me, but I don't feel the same.
You told everyone that he died? You cannot tell anyone that Asher is alive. Why did you lie, Zach? I think Asher is dead.
He's dead, Mistress Ilana.
You wish to get permission to court Joanna?
But I believe Joanna has not yet recovered from the death of Asher.
Yes, and besides, it's too soon for her to give her attention to another man.
What a shame that I have to go. You don't know how my heart rejoices when I'm in your lovely presence.
I simply wish to know how you are, my friend.
I'm fine.
You cannot get married to that woman.
And who are you to tell me what I can and cannot do?
Bigger statue. Inua mkono alafu cheza na mguu. Bigger statue. Anguka na one leg, anguka na
DJ Tatua.
Kushuka zinapandisha juu, piga kale kama kuja mkufu ati neke kupamba kwanza tena toka
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
23 minutes to 10 o'clock. Kenya's biggest conversation continues this morning. And in the hot seat is Kevin Nganga, who is the country director for Virto. And we've been looking at cross-border payments, essentially just making business or providing business solutions. Let's look at, sometimes what they call the real situation on the ground. I run a business, right? Take a stab. Juice, it's juice.
Yep.
And the ingredients, for example, I don't get them here. I get them.
You need to import them.
I need to import them. Let me take a stab. I get them from Nigeria. Okay?
Right.
Excuse me. I get them from Nigeria. It's an established business. I have my certificates, everything, and I get onto your platform. The folks that I'm buying from, my ingredients, are not necessarily a registered business, right? There are traders in the market who sell this thing in bulk.
Yep.
But I still need to pay the folk in order to get the thing.
Yep.
How does Virtual help me?
Great. Excellent question. So let's take your scenario of the individuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is, because we have banking partnerships in Nigeria, Du would be able to load her wallet in Kenya shillings on the Vato platform, convert those Kenya shillings to Nigerian naira. So she'll have Nigerian naira on the platform. Then if she needs to make a payment to the traders on the ground, they all have, using the NIBS, the interbank payment system, the NIBS payment, which is similar to what we call our Pesa Link.
Yes, yes.
All you need to do is have the account details, the account number.
Okay.
And then from your Nigerian wallet, you then create them as a beneficiary. So Yemi,
Alade. But okay, let's go with it.
One account number 123, and you just pay. And the beautiful thing about that is it's real time, and they will get a notification on their phone, and then they can gladly then release the
So I don't have
you.
to have an account, for example, in the other country. I don't have to say, okay, that's brilliant.
You don't have to have an account. And I'll do you one better do.
Here we go.
Let us say you are exporting Del Monte products. So you're a distributor for Del Monte. And you have found Del Monte yogurt. Delamere yogurt as a good opportunity to sell in Nigeria.
Yes.
Now, what we are able to do for you is, if you find distributors in Nigeria who are able to buy the product from you, we can help you collect in Naira from those distributors. So you have your Delamere yogurt seated in a warehouse, nice chill in Nigeria, and you say, okay, once you pay me, I'll release the product. So what Vatu can help you do is do what you call local collections in Nigeria. So we will give you an account, named account called Do International. You just need to advise them, pay into this account number. Once you cite the funds, because it's real time, you then give instructions to your warehouse manager, release the product.
That's brilliant.
So one of the things that we are doing, we are solving for, I like to give these examples. We've got a lot of Kenyan manufacturers that export into the region. So you find a Kenyan plastic manufacturer is selling products in Tanzania, is selling products in Cameroon, right? Your traditional cross-border payment would be the Cameroonian buyer gets cash dollars, gives it to his driver. The driver drives across from Douala to Busia. He deposits the money in a bank account. Du can only release the product when she has seen the cash dollars have been deposited in her account. Now, one of the things that we do is we can give Du Plastics exporters a collection account in Cameroon. That Cameroonian distributor or buyer deposits that money in local currency. You want Kenya shillings.
Yes.
So our platform is able to tell the distributor or the buyer, if you want 100,000 or 1 million Kenya shillings fixed as your invoice value, our platform is able to tell this distributor to deposit XAF, say 68 million.
Yes.
And they will deposit, and our platform will automatically then credit your Kenya shilling account, and you're good to go.
Do you see now? That's brilliant. And on that note, now, because you've done that, we'll give you yogurt.
And even as
CT will give you some Delamere yogurt just because you've told us how we can do business and make money. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
and he's so excited to do it.
With that.
And even as you enjoy it, I'm just thinking, because then there are certain things that we can't run away from, especially if you expose yourself to the market. And these are the primary sources of risks. And I'm just particularly on the risks. And I love how you're bringing out what you're talking about, what you're doing at Varta, and much of it is like empowering people. I know how much the youth have wanted these things to happen for them, and if you can actually do it globally, the better. But how do you maneuver around the equity price risk. I'm particularly, curious about that because we can't essentially run away from those dynamics.
Yep.
The equity price risk and of course, you've touched on a lot of commodity risk,
Yep.
but in that essential part of the equity price risk, I know you said there's a way you kind of inform your clients, guide them through it, but perhaps if you could detail again around that element of equity.
So on price risk, there's two categories of price risk. There's the foreign exchange risk, where if I want to sell a product in another jurisdiction, that jurisdiction or your buyer will have to, of course, have his local currency, right? And
Yes.
you want to be paid either in dollars or in Kenya shillings. So there's that foreign exchange risk. And then there's obviously what you'd call, if you're selling a tradable commodity, sugar, oil, that there's, of course, the commodity, the actual change of the price. So as VATO, what we help with is a foreign exchange risk. Why? Because we are a cross-border payments platform. So on our platform, there's two things that we give you. We give you global accounts and local accounts and wallets. Now, to mitigate your foreign exchange risk, we give you multi-currency wallets. So I will give you up to 49 currencies. So one of the things that we do to help you mitigate risk is we give you what you call a treasury management solution, where if you are anticipating to receive Nigerian naira, for example, and you are wanting to you're going to have to make a supplier payment in China in USD, we'll give you a dollar wallet, a Kenya shilling wallet, and a Nigerian naira wallet.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Now, depending on your budgeting, so with every finance person, there's an element of budgeting. What is the exchange rate I am procuring the products at, and what are the exchange rate I'm going to sell the product at? So we do two things. We help you manage your wallet in the sense that if you have a target rate, let's take with our currency, Kenya shilling to dollar. Let's say I want to target a rate of 129 to convert. What we're able to help you is you're able to hold Kenya shillings in your wallet, and at the point in which we'll send you a trigger, right? We'll send you a trigger that there's a rate alert. The rate is currently at 129, okay? We also have a product called the VATO Marketplace, which helps you essentially almost do it like an auction. Let's just look at the four of us, for example. So CT is a flour exporter or a tea exporter. He gets dollars. Kevin is an importer of, let's say, medical equipment, right? I will always have demand for dollars, right?
Yes.
CT will always have supply of dollars because he's exporting product. So what we do on the marketplace is we are able to let CT post his target rate. So if CT wants to sell his dollars at 129.30, and I am comfortable with buying at 129.30, I will see an anonymous bid on the platform, and then I will just strike it. I send my Kenya shillings, CT sends his dollars, and we facilitate that.
Another convenience.
So we make it if you're planning. So from our price risk perspective, we help you plan.
Yes.
So if I have a target rate from a budget perspective, or my finance manager said, this is the rate we need to achieve for us to break even, I just have to put my bid and say, I want to buy dollars at 129.
Oh, this is great. So there are merchants who are on the platform anyway who are still able to do business with each other.
Correct. So we're able to match. So CT is a flour exporter, Kevin is an importer. I don't need to know him. VATO will facilitate. All that CT needs to do is put a bid, or I can also put the bid, and if CT likes my offer, they take it up on the platform as well.
Okay. So how has this actually changed businesses that you've seen, maybe starting off, trotting and then getting to the place where you're running? How have you seen that businesses over time, having been on the platform, have then moved from one level to the next?
So we target both medium-sized, small businesses and large enterprise corporates. The biggest success stories, I must admit, over the 3 years that we've been in the market now is we've seen businesses grow and finding new markets. That's been our biggest, should I say, cheer right now, because I'll give you a case in point. We have a cosmetics importer who was really struggling accessing. So they import some of the cosmetics from China, some of them actually from Nigeria. They were really struggling to get money, for example, to China. It would take them 2 weeks for them to get the payment there. That's number one. Number two, then that affects everything after that, because the Chinese supply is not going to release product until, so everything gets delayed. So they mentioned to me that their cash conversion time from the day they send money to China to the day they bring the product reduced by 60%, which allowed them to quickly now start getting a lot more product in. That's number one. Number two, they just recently expanded their business to Uganda. Now, because of the Vato platform, they didn't need to open a presence in Uganda. What they did is they took the collection solution, right?
Yeah.
And every time they need to sell, they just top up the Uganda shilling wallet and then manage the logistics, whether it is rent, whether it is taxes in Uganda, all from the comfort of that. This business has grown like, I think maybe 200%.
My goodness.
Over the last, just because of ability for us to help them open new markets.
Amazing. And I'm actually very curious, celebrating 7 years in this, and you know, some people are thinking starting is really, really difficult, but look at you withstanding the test of time. 7 years. There have been challenges, I know.
A lot.
And someone would be curious to understand, I mean, how many countries so far? Because you are going wide and beyond.
Yeah.
And somebody's watching in diaspora, listening in from diaspora, and they're thinking, so are we able to also get a piece here? So perhaps just to walk us through that journey in the picture of how far you've expanded, who was eligible, and you know, 7 years down the line.
So let me say what is eligible, then I'll say our challenges.
Yes.
So we currently can onboard any business around the world, so long as you're not from a restricted country. So I wouldn't onboard a customer.
How do you qualify to be a restricted country?
So there's something called the OFAC sanction. So there's a sanction list that is globally circulated. So countries like Myanmar, Southern Sudan are those sanction lists. So we typically are not, because of our global banking partner network, we typically then align that. So eligible, anybody, so long as you're a registered business. So we don't do individuals, but we do registered business. So if you're a sole proprietorship, you would be eligible, so long as you're registered in Kenya, for example, with BRS. We offer 49 currencies globally, which covers about 190 countries. Collection capabilities, that's 25 currencies. We are basically everywhere in Africa, apart from North Africa. That's our next phase of expansion. We've, as I just mentioned, we've just launched in Dubai.
Yes.
We think that's going to be a big opportunity, because East Africa's is about maybe $25-30 billion a year in Dubai, UAE, Kenya cross-border payments. So that's a big channel. Challenges. The beautiful thing about Africa is everybody's very independent. I think we saw that over the weekend as well. Regulatory landscapes are very different. So to get a license in Nigeria is very, very different to get a license in South Africa. You would expect that primarily because most of these countries maybe are Anglophone and you would have a Commonwealth sort of similar. No. Biggest challenge is navigating the different regulatory landscapes. That's number one. Number two is what I mentioned earlier around high-risk jurisdiction.
Yes.
It's still a problem around certain banks, and I'll be fairly frank, certain jurisdictions like the US is very, very hard to penetrate because they've got very high, compliance requirements around reporting, regulatory reporting. So you need to invest a lot of infrastructure from a compliance perspective to be able to facilitate cross-border payments. It's been that 7 years for you to be able to understand this jurisdiction wants this type of compliance requirements. So those are the challenges. And I think the other challenge is technology. Technology is really moving a lot fast. So you need to remain agile. You need to remain innovative. You need to continue asking our audience, what are some of the problems you're currently facing? We're now rolling out expense management solutions, primarily because we have corporates who say, Kevin, I need to travel and I need a corporate card when I'm traveling, right? Can you help me out? So we're starting now to see ourselves now evolving into other spheres around the payment space as well.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So in this world, like you talk about technology moving so quickly, there are folks who don't use cash to pay for anything anymore. I mean, I'm not even talking about physical cash. I'm talking about currencies have shifted. So with digital currencies such as crypto have been used to make a lot of payments for certain things.
Correct.
Is that also something that the Virtual platform looks into as well?
So let me say yes and no. No, because in certain jurisdictions, crypto is not allowed. So where there is a jurisdiction that there's a restriction on, we don't do crypto. We do what you call stable coins. So stable coins typically are sort of acceptable in regulated jurisdictions because they are not crypto. They're just a different version of it's a digital currency. Right?
I'm sorry if I have to interrupt. Maybe I got a bit confused there. Stable coins and bitcoins.
So yes.
Okay. or the bitcoins are for the crypto?
So Bitcoin is a crypto.
Oh, okay.
Stable coin is a digital asset that is backed by physical currency. So USD, for example, USDC is backed by US treasuries and actual US cash. Right? So it's just a currency that allows you to make payments. So in certain jurisdictions,